All right, guys, let's call this meeting to order. October 19th, 2023. First off, let's go with the roll call. Myself, Al Lopez, present. Gina Blackman, excused. Abraham Camejo.
Present.
David Flatt.
Here.
Michael Flores. Was that Michael Flores?
Byron Goins is in.
Okay, Byron. Thank you, Byron.
Thank you.
Robert Gertison.
Present.
Chad Conrad.
I'm here.
Nicole Lehman Donadio. Here. Todd Peterson. Yvette Williams. Neither. Okay. Moving on. I think we do have the amount of people we needed for a quorum. Let's move on to item 1.01, flag salute. Please, let's stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, adoption of the agenda. We do possible action, I guess, we need a motion to adopt the agenda for today's.
Abraham, for the record, I motion to adopt the agenda.
We have a motion.
Dave Flatt for the second.
We do have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Hearing none, motion passes. Approval of the minutes. We'll give you guys a few minutes to review the last minutes of last month's meeting. And once you guys have looked it over, I'll wait on a motion to approve the minutes.
Can you request for public comment?
Oh, yes. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes first off?
Motion to approve the minutes.
We got a first for Mr. Byron Goins.
Rob Gertz, the second.
Rob Gertison for the second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those against, say nay. Hearing none, motion passes. Do we have any public comment under this subject, approval of the minutes? Hearing none. Moving forward, we're moving forward on to 2.02, reports of the chairs, liaisons, and representatives. Let's see who is first here. All right. Mr. Chad Conrad, Finance Investment. We'll go with you first.
Thanks, Al. So I think the one thing that I'll touch on that came up, I think, since the last meeting was there was a report in I think it was Channel 8 News, one of the news stations about a business email compromise issue with the school district that happened about a year or so ago. I think mid-summer of 2022. Just based on the little bit of information that hit the media, I reached out to Mr. Fouts and his team to get a little bit more information about what happened, what were the courses of events. I mean, and without getting into an unneeded amount of detail, I got an understanding of what happened, how it happened, and just for some context, I oversee it in the IT department, and I have some experience with a couple of cyber breaches and some business email compromise. It happens to a lot of businesses, so I've been through it. I've been on a couple of mitigation teams when there's been security breaches, so I have some experience there. And so I walked through that, got myself kind of a level of comfort of the series of events, and then just covered the control procedures, mitigation procedures that are in place from the school district's perspective on making sure that the procedures and controls are in place so that best practices are there and hopefully don't allow for something like this to happen again. I mean, obviously, attackers are out there from a cyber perspective, and things happen. But you do your best to put procedures in place to make sure that there are controls. And I believe after the review that CCSD's payables department has those procedures in place. I feel comfortable with my review there. Yes, other than that, I have nothing else to update.
Okay, do we have any questions for Mr. Conrad? Hearing none, moving forward, Mr. Camejo, do you have anything to report on when it comes to construction?
Abraham Camejo for the record. I had a few businesses reach out via email requesting more information on how they can put their businesses in the vendors list for the school district. They would like to be considered for qualifications and to try to bid on some of the work that's out there. So I just simply said I would ask for some information and for the applications. So if I can get some help and have that information sent over my way, that way I can forward it to those interested in trying to work with the school district. Other than that, I have no other updates for anything else.
Are there any questions for Mr. Camejo? Hearing none, moving on, Mr. Robert Gertensen, do you have anything to report on design?
Yes, for design. So I was able to attend a meeting, and thank you, Brandon, for sending me the invite for the Helen Smith design meeting on the October 4th, I think it was. About 15 of us showed up. It was a great cross-section of a discovery meeting to know about what parents are looking for. There was principals there. It was a really good cross-section of professionals that can well inform what the programming and needs are for the new schools that we're designing. And so I look forward to attending more of those. And I believe there's another CMAR interview that's coming up, I believe in next month, I think. If that is, I'd love to attend that as well. And then just to follow up from the previous meetings, prepared to make a report on the studies and findings that I'm doing with the design of the prototypes and the CMAR process as early as December or the next year. Definitely want to work with staff first as far as what is to be presented, and just make sure it's within the guidelines of the Bond Oversight Committee. So thank you very much.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Gertensen? Hearing none, moving on to Mr. David Flatt, anything to report on with site selection land use?
I do, thank you. I went to the city council meeting, and Brandon and his crew did a phenomenal job of representing us, of the school district, on getting the land and having it approved. So it was a very entertaining, because I've never been to a council meeting, it was very entertaining, to say the least. So, thank you.
Are there any questions here for Mr. Flatt? Hearing none, moving on, Ms. Gina Blackman, who is not present. Mr. Michael Flores, Community Relationships, also not present. All right, then moving on to subject 2.02, report by the Clark County Board of School Trustee Liaison. Is she present? I don't think so. Do you want to say something, Robert? Oh, she's on the phone. We'll move on then and come back to her. No, so she's not available. All right, well, we'll keep it open in case we have some technical difficulties, so if we get that rectified, we'll follow back with her. Moving on to 2.04, Capital Improvement Program Summary Status Reports. Mr. Rodney Feltz.
Yes, Rodney Fouts for the record. 2.40A, which is up on the screen. As you see, we have just under $3.1 billion in revenue raised from our bonds. As far as our expenditures to date, we're just under 2.5 billion, with another $260 million that is encumbered. So that is a total of $2.73 billion between the expenditures and the encumbrances. That leaves us with an available cash balance of $627 million, of which we basically have $367 million available, since the encumbrances will ultimately become expenditures. Are there any questions on this report? And move over to 2.04B. Again, we're presenting the shorter version this month. Next version, we will have the long list of projects. The items that are on here, we have one new addition to our report, which is Basic High School, the cafeteria addition, for $8.4 million budget. We had 6 projects that had bids on them, 2 replacement schools and 4 modernization projects. Brindley Middle School, budget is $96.6 million. Ourside Middle School is $109.2 million. Bonanza High School is $64.7 million. Cram Middle School is $43.6 million. Carl Elementary School is $13.0 million. And Darnell Elementary School, $15.2 million. Those are the projects that have been added to the short list, again, showing you what has been bid and what has been added to the project list. As far as the overall total, we have roughly, in the larger report, you'd have about $164 million change in the various schools predicated on the OPCs, of which you'll see most of that in the next version that I provide next month. Are there any questions on this report?
Abraham, for the record, I have a question. With the budget increase, is this still reflecting from other conversation with the construction cost and labor? Is that still reflecting this increase of the money, I guess you could say? Is that still
Yes,
still the case?
essentially, every time we get an opinion of cost and in the bid, it's going to be higher than the last opinion of cost that we've received.
All right, let's see if we can try to put a plug on these, because it's
I would like to.
it's expensive, and so we just want to make sure that we are using our funds adequately for the greater good of the entire community. So hopefully we can start putting a plug on this, and we can build more versus less than what because sooner or later the piggy bank's gonna start getting drained. But thank you for answering that.
Go ahead, Mr. Curtis. Oh, I'm sorry, Conrad.
Thank you for the update here. We had talked, I think, in the past couple months about a cash flow reconciliation where we'd get a better idea of the impact of these increases on the total project budget, and then potentially what changes to the original scope we would have to make. What can you update on a timeline on when we'll be able to see that?
Sure. Rodney Fouts for the record. We had a preliminary meeting with the superintendent about revision 6. To provide him with our suggestions. He's mulling that over. After that point, we'll obviously be coming back to the Bond Oversight Committee and probably do a gathering like we did in the past with the 2 members that were sitting on that, which would be Mr. Gertison and Miss Gina Taylor-Blackman, to get their buy-in, and then ultimately review that with the overall Bond Oversight Committee at a later date.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Feltz? Other questions? All right, just circling back to, is there the liaison available, the trustee available on the phone now? No. Okay. All right, then. We're going to move on to subject 2.05, election of the Bond Oversight Executive Committee's vice chair. This is for anyone that is here currently on the board interested in the second vice chair per the bylaws already in place, since I was the first vice chair, I got moved up to chair. Gina Blackman was the second vice, or the first vice chair, now she is the vice chair. But now we have an opening for second vice chair. I guess I could open up the floor to any discussion first, or possible nominations? Or, I'm sorry, is there any public comment on this issue as well? Hearing none, moving forward. Any discussion? Anybody want to speak up? Anybody interested in the position? Go ahead, Mr.
I was just going to mention, should we rock, paper, scissors for it?
Go ahead.
I'd like to submit Chad Conrad as the second vice chair, please.
We have a nomination for Chad Conrad for second vice chair. Do I hear a second?
Abraham, for the record,
I'll
I
second.
it.
We hear Byron Goins for the second. We got Byron Goins as the second for nominating Mr. Conrad as second vice chair. Do we have any other nominations besides Mr. Conrad for vice chair?
This is Rob Gerson. If he's okay with it, I'd like to nominate Chad. He's very capable, and look forward to his leadership.
Do we have any other discussions about Mr. Conrad being second vice chair? Hearing none and no other nominations are in play, I'll take a vote to accept Mr. Conrad as second vice chair moving forward for the remainder of this term. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone against, say nay. Hearing none. Congratulations, Mr. Conrad. You are now officially the second vice chair of the Bond Oversight Committee for the remainder of the term.
Thank you. Appreciate and accept.
Hey, Chad, you want to be Speaker of the House?
I'll leave that to Jim Jordan.
It's actually a good one. All right. Moving on to subject 2.06, questions of removal of items and motions and taskings. Let's see, I do have one item that's here on it, analysis of district cost savings and options to provide access to a larger population of students. This item was brought up by Ms. Williams. I take it since she is not present, there's no reason to really address this at this point. Hopefully, we do have in play, though, to try to get some of these motions and taskings, questions answered through staff and getting us in play with people that need to be met to answer these questions. So that's something that we're currently working on to kind of clean up the process here, so to say. So hopefully we can address this with Ms. Williams, not on the record, but still address your issues off the record. Are there any other items on motions and taskings that any of the board members would like to add or ask questions about at this point? Any other questions on motions and taskings? I'm not hearing none. Any public comment on this issue? Hearing none. So let's see here. I guess move on to item 3.01, public comment. Not listed on the agenda. Do we have any public comment? Anything? Okay. Hearing none, no public comment. We're going to move on to, do we have a possible, did I skip one? I don't have a 207 on this page. Yeah, that's why I thought there was future agenda items, but I don't have one. Unless I'm missing it. Okay, it's way in the bottom here. I'm sorry. On item 207, future agenda items, is there anybody here on the committee that would like to bring up certain topics for future agenda items? Wow, nothing? Okay, great. Is there any public comment on future agenda items possibly? Hearing none. Wow, this is going to be a quickie. Moving on to, well, we went through 3.01, no public comment was being heard. I guess final Number 4, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Abraham, Camacho, for the record, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Rob Gertison for the second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Hearing none, say nay. Hearing none, motion passes and we are adjourned.